Okay, if you are confused, we are skipping handout 6. So you should be on handout 7 about simple interest. So we kind of brainstormed in class what interest was, and we said it could work for you or against you. So in this example, we're going to talk about what would be the advantage of having a savings account over a piggy bank. So I want you to pause the video and think about some advantages. So I typed some in here. A savings account at a bank, it would be more difficult to get your money as opposed to, your piggy bank at home. It's ready for you to use. A sibling could get at it. And then also the difference is the one that earns interest and the one that does not. So simple interest. So basically it is interest earned only on the principal. And principal means, it says, or the original amount deposited. So like if you deposited $500 in your savings account, that would be considered the principal. And it's earned over a period of time, and it's written as a percentage. So like you might have a 7% interest rate on your savings account, even though that'd be really high. I'm not even really sure exactly what they are right now, but they're not very high. And obviously, the more money you would put in, the more you would make in the end. So there's a simple formula here. Simple interest is I, and I would stand for interest, equals, and then the P, you should know, we just talked about that. That's the principal. Oh my golly. Principal. And maybe you just want to put like original amount, because that would be the money that you deposit, or if you're borrowing money, it would be the money that you would borrow. Like if the car costs $20,000, you're going to borrow, that would be your principal. The R is the rate. And remember, that will be a percent, but we want to change that to a decimal. So it's a rate as a percent, but change to decimal when we're going to do this formula. And then time. And this is really important. This needs to be in years. So like if they say 5 or 6 months, then you need to write 0.5 for half a year. And then we use this formula. And if you remember, when these letters are all squished together, this just means to multiply. So we're going to multiply the amount that you borrow or invest times the interest rate and make it a decimal, and then times the time in years. So we're going to try a few problems down here. Okay. So I like to write it out, especially when you're first learning it. And so I'm looking for my pen here. And so we're going to use this formula. And so the interest on this one, a $900 deposit for 20 years, we're trying to find the interest. So I equals, the principal is 900, and I'm just going to put parentheses to represent times. The rate is 4%. So we have to move the decimal back 2 places. So it's 0.04, and then 20 years. And then you just go ahead and it doesn't matter what order, but you multiply all these things, and your interest rate is $720. So if you deposited $900 and left it in there for 20 years at this rate, you'll make $720 off of it. Doesn't seem like very much after all those years. And then the total value, you should be adding these two numbers together. So you end up having 1,620 in the end. Okay. Number 2, go ahead and pause the video and try to do that yourself. Okay, so I set up the formula here. We got 0.03 for the interest rate, 45 years. And so the interest that you earn is $7,560. So we deposited a lot more there, and the interest rate was a little bit less, but then we left it in there for 45 years. So then we made this much money off of it. So in the end, we had 13,160. Okay, let's try the next one. And sometimes they're worded differently, so you have to watch that formula. So we have interest equals PRT. Don't forget this. So it says she borrows $2,500 from the bank. So now we're borrowing money. So the principal is the money that we borrow. So $2,500. The rate is 6%, so that would be 0.06. And the time is 5. And so the question asks, how much is she going to pay in interest? So she is going to pay $750. So maybe this is like a cheap little car maybe that she's buying. So she's paying that much for the car. She's borrowing it from the bank. It's going to take her 5 years to pay it off at this interest rate, which is pretty normal for a bank. And so she's going to end up paying this much extra just to buy the car. So in the end, the car's over $3,000 that she has to pay. So that's why it's smart to save this money first for your first car. Okay, and then the next one. Terry invests $6,000 in a CD. So that would be your principal. At an annual interest rate of 7%, so times 0.07. What will his investment be worth at the end of 6 months? So, how are we going to make that with years? 6 months is half a year. So we have to times this by either 0.5 or 1/2. However, or you could do 6 over 12, 6 out of 12 months. So you multiply those, and the interest rate you get, I don't have it handy here, but you're going to multiply this, this, and this together. And then what are you going to do with that to get what it's worth at the end of 6 months? I'll be looking for that answer tomorrow.